National Assembly approves emergency rule in Rivers, calls for mediation. Rivers sole administrator Ibot Ete Ibas assumes duty. Death toll in Abuja explosion hit 10. And on the international scene, Congo rebels dismiss ceasefire calls, capture strategic town. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Update. I am Idris Baturi. Both chambers of the National Assembly have unanimously approved the state of emergency declared in Rivers State by President Tinubu. President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, read the president's letter during Thursday's plenary before lawmakers went into a closed-door session. After the session, Akpabio put the matter to a voice vote. The lawmakers overwhelmingly supported the request. The report.
Announcing the decision, Akpabio says the Senate had exercised its powers under Section 305, subsection 2 of the Constitution to approve the President's proclamation. The upper chamber, relying on Section 11, subsection 4 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, resolved to set up a joint committee to oversight the administration of Rivers State Legislature and a select group of eminent Nigerians to reconcile varying parties in the state.
That the declaration of the state of emergency stated in the proclamation document and the mandate of the president to review and hereby mandates the president to review and even to terminate the state of emergency at any given time, but not later than 6 months. Those in support of the declaration of the state of emergency in Rivers say aye, and those against say nay. The ayes have it in unanimity.
Earlier on Thursday, the House of Representatives approved the declaration through a voice vote by the 243 members in attendance.
Hold on, honorable colleagues. You are saying that the president doesn't need to wait until the expiration of the 6 months before he can lift this suspension, right? That if by tomorrow Rivers State will wake up and everything is okay, he has the right to say, okay, the state of emergency should come to an end. So rather than just tying us to 6 months, you are saying at any given time, between the first day after the passage of this particular request, the president is at liberty to lift this suspension. Is that what you are saying? Okay. Those in support of this request of Mr. President as amended should say aye. Aye. Those in support of this request from Mr. President as amended should say aye. Those against should say nay. There is have it.
An attempt by the Abia lawmaker Obi Aguncha to stop the debate on the general principles of the letter, citing Section 305, subsection 6b of the Constitution, which requires that the House must have 2/3 of its members in plenary, was overruled by the Speaker. President Bola Tinubu had on Thursday declared a state of emergency in Rivers, citing breakdown of law and order, and appointed retired Vice Admiral Ibok Ete to administer the state in the absence of Governor Fubara and the State House of Assembly.
Nigeria's opposition leaders have condemned President Bola Tinubu's declaration of a state of emergency in Rivers State, calling it an unconstitutional power grab. In a charged world press conference in Abuja, key opposition figures, including former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, urged the National Assembly and judiciary to intervene and halt what they describe as a dangerous precedent. Trust TV's Shafiu Suleiman reports.
Opposition leaders from across political, ethnic and regional divides have united against the emergency rule imposed by the Tinubu administration in Rivers State. Citing judicial and political precedents under Section 305 of the Constitution, they argue that the president lacks the power to unseat a sitting governor, deputy governor and state legislature under the guise of emergency rule.
We urge the judiciary to act swiftly in striking down this proclamation, as it sets a dangerous precedent that could be used to arbitrarily remove any governor in the future.
In 2006, the Supreme Court of Nigeria gave a judgment clearly stating that even though by then Daria had been restored to office, but last the Obasanjo administration has said that under no circumstances would the emergency provisions in Section 305 be used to remove any elected official.
Of course, I'm here representing him in the video. So what is very clear is this. Anything that will undermine democracy and our political system in our country, Peter Obi will be ahead of whoever. So he's very much in line with this particular decision to challenge the status quo on unconstitutionality of removing the Rivers State government.
With Rivers State at the center of a protracted political crisis, the battle has now shifted to the National Assembly and the judiciary. Opposition leaders are pressing for immediate intervention, warning that if the emergency rule stands, it will set a dangerous precedent for democracy in Nigeria.
I can't imagine somebody like Bola who even ran into exile because he was fighting totalitarian government to come and behave the way he did in Rivers. I would have advised Bola to say, call Wike, who everybody knows is the architect of this evil in Rivers. He is his employee. Call him, stop this, and Wike will stop it. If he doesn't, remove him.
It only demonstrates the contempt the president has for the Constitution. Because if the president doesn't have contempt for the Constitution, he will at least, before swearing in whoever the administrator, wait for the approval of the National Assembly.
President Bola Tinubu, on a Tuesday national broadcast, declared a 6-month state of emergency, suspending the elected governor, his deputy, and the legislature. In their place, he appointed retired Vice Admiral Ibok Ete Ibas as sole administrator to restore order in the oil-rich state. Shafiu Suleiman, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Now, the newly appointed sole administrator for Rivers State, Vice Admiral Ibok Ete Ibas, retired, has arrived at the government house in Port Harcourt to assume his duties. He was accompanied by Oju Kayi Flag Amatri, the Director of Energy Security and a close associate of the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike. However, representatives from the factional loyal to the suspended governor, Siminalayi Fubara, were notably absent. The administrator was received by the head of service of Rivers State and service commanders upon his arrival. In a brief address, Vice Admiral Ibas stated that he is currently meeting with the head of service, permanent secretaries, and service commanders to receive formal briefings as he embarks on his leadership role. He assured the public that he would address the media on other pressing issues at a later time.
Well, I just got in here and decided to meet with the head of service and the permanent secretaries and the service commanders. I'm going to have to meet with them to get the formal briefings from all those I met this afternoon. And then I believe it is only proper for me thereafter to have something to say to you all. And I assure you that perhaps later this evening, I'll be in the right position to address you and then to address the issues that you may want to raise now. Port Harcourt is my city. Everything appears calm, though I know that the situation is there, but we just want Port Harcourt to get back to where it has always been.
The Federal Capital Territory Emergency Management Department has said the death toll from Wednesday's Karu multiple explosions has increased to 10. Acting Director General of the department, Abdulrahman Muhammad, disclosed this while giving an update in Abuja on Thursday. Recall that a driver of a truck lost control around Karu Bridge and he's on his way to Enya on the Abuja-Kefi Expressway and rammed into vehicles in traffic. The collision led to a massive explosion involving several vehicles. Muhammad said that 5 victims were taken from the scene dead, while 4 burnt beyond recognition, while another victim died at the hospital while receiving treatment on Wednesday. The Director General appealed to motorists to drive safely, to adhering to traffic rules and regulations and desist from reckless driving, dangerous overtaking, and poor vehicle maintenance. Now, less than 24 hours after a deadly truck explosion at Karu Bridge in Abuja, another truck has overturned near the location. A viral video shared by an eyewitness shows that the truck fell across the road, preventing free movement to vehicles heading towards Yenya. Officials of the Federal Road Safety Corps, FRSC, and other law enforcement officers are reportedly on the ground to clear the vehicle. The accident led to slow movement of traffic on the popular route.
This one is happening now. New one.
Now, at least 3 houses have been totally razed following a fire incident at the new GRA in Gombe. Victims of the incident, who lamented that they were not able to salvage anything, are now seeking help to start life afresh. Hassan Koli reports.
During the devastating fire incident at the new GRA Gombe, 3 houses were completely engulfed in flames on Wednesday. In the aftermath of the incident, families have been rendered homeless and are now in despair. The inferno, which broke out in the middle of the day, swiftly spread through 3 houses, reducing them to ashes. Local authorities have yet to determine the exact cause of the fire, with residents now calling for urgent assistance as many of them have been left stranded with no shelter, food, or basic necessities.
We lost everything. There was no one to help us when the fire started. We need support, especially from the government and other public-spirited Nigerians, to help us start all over again. Everyone knows how hard life is at the moment.
I was in the house doing my supplications, and one of my neighbors called me that you should please come hurry up and come to your house is on fire. So actually I cannot predict what is the source of the fire. I was just told by my neighbor. So before I arrived, the fire had not all the rooms, especially the inner one that is surrounded. So there was so much things inside. When I came there, the fire had already been controlled. So that's how I come to know the happening of the fire. I cannot tell precisely what is the cause.
While emergency respondents eventually arrived at the scene of the fire incident, the damage had already been done. For now, these families are left with nothing but hope and the goodwill of the community. Hassan Koli, Trust TV News, Gombe.
The Oyo State government has dropped all charges against Naomi Silekunola, a former wife of the Oni of Ife, Oriomi Hamzat, owner of Agidigbu FM, and Abdullahi Fasasi, the principal of Islamic High School, Bashorun, Ibadan. The trio had initially faced legal action following the tragic stampede at a children's event in December 2024, which claimed the lives of at least 35 children. Following Thursday's court session, the defendants were seen visibly relieved, smiling and exchanging pleasantries, a clear indication that the charges had been dismissed. Oyo State Attorney General Abiodun Aikomo confirmed the development, explaining the rationale behind the court's decision.
There was an unfortunate incident in December that led to the death.
Now, members of the National Youth Service Corps, NYSC, will start receiving the newly reviewed federal allowance of $77,000 with effect from March 2025. The Director General, DG of NYSC, Brigadier General Olakunle Oluseyi Nafiu, disclosed this while addressing corps members serving in the Federal Capital Territory at NYSC Zonal Office, Wuse Zone 3 and Old Parade Ground, Garki area, respectively, on Thursday. He informed the corps that the Ministry of Finance has communicated to the scheme that the funds are ready for disbursement. He explained that the delay in the implementation of the new allowances was as a result of late signing of 2025 appropriation bill, while appreciating the core members for keeping with the objectives of NYSC's founding fathers by fostering national unity, integration and development. The NYSC horseman to equally imbibe the wording of the NYSC anthem. Authorities in Kano are taking proactive steps to prevent an outbreak of cerebrospinal meningitis (CSM) following the detection of 23 suspected cases in the state. Director of Surveillance and Epidemiology at the Kano Center for Disease Control and Prevention, KNCDC, Aminu Sudawa, speaks to Trust TV on measures adopted to check against the spread of the deadly disease. The report.
Cerebrospinal meningitis is a disease associated with hot weather. Its common symptoms include fever, headache, vomiting, and neck stiffness. Dr. Aminu Sudawa stated that 23 suspected cases of the disease have been detected. This prompted state authorities to place health workers on high alert to prevent an outbreak through monitoring and public sensitization.
Currently, we have about 23 suspected cases and samples were taken to the lab. And once it is confirmed, then we know we are dealing with cases of outbreak. Meningitis is an infection of the meninges that surrounds the brain and spinal cord. And it happens at epidemic proportions, sometimes around this very dry season, usually between December and June. So now that we are in March, we are approaching a season whereby there is a possibility of the outbreak of meningitis.
He advised residents to avoid overcrowded places, ensure proper ventilation in sleeping areas, and maintain personal hygiene.
The public need to be enlightened, and one important thing is they should avoid sleeping in rooms that are not well ventilated. Rooms should have cross ventilation, and the crowd should be avoided, especially at night. People should not be sleeping in crowded areas. And government authorities that host people in high numbers, like barracks, like prisons, like boarding schools, should also be aware of this, and they should take necessary measures.
The law establishing the Kano State Center for Disease Control and Prevention was signed in February this year as part of efforts to protect the state from epidemics like meningitis, which recently caused 56 deaths in Kebbi State.
Now, as part of effort to strengthen the country's healthcare system, the federal government has disbursed 32 billion naira from the Basic Healthcare Provision Fund (BHCPF) to improve healthcare services, disease control measures, primary healthcare funding, and emergency medical treatment. The Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Muhammad Ali Pati, while speaking to journalists at the end of the quarterly Ministerial Oversight Committee (MOC), said the disbursement will be spread across states and local governments, including more than 8,000 primary healthcare centers in the country. While acknowledging the existing funding gap, he said only $2 million was gotten from international donors, assuring that despite such limitations, treatment for TB, malaria, and HIV/AIDS intervention will continue.
Today's meeting is a continuation of that movement to improve the governance of the health sector, to expand primary health care, expand affordability, expand emergency medical treatment, the emergency ambulance scheme, and also strengthen health security through the various gateways of the BHCPF. In light of the sector-wide approach, the governance of the sector-wide approach also is being brought closer to the Basic Healthcare Provision Fund governance structure that we have. So today's meeting will discuss and approve the disbursement of the first quarter BHCPF resources to the states and local governments and the primary healthcare centers, the more than 8,000 primary healthcare centers who receive quarterly disbursement through a BHCPF.
And now in business, a new household expectation survey by the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) has revealed that 65.5% of Nigerian households believe a reduction in lending rate will be the best for the economy. The survey, conducted in February 2025, highlights public perception of key economic indicators, including inflation, interest rates, exchange rates, and economic confidence over the next 6 months. According to the findings, only 10.4% of respondents believe that interest rates should increase, while 12.5% prefer them to remain unchanged. Another 11.6% expressed uncertainty about the direction of interest rate. The data suggests that most Nigerians believe lower borrowing costs will improve household finances, business growth, and economic stability. The CBN's Household Expectation Survey provides a snapshot of how Nigerians perceive the current economic environment and its future trajectory. Now away from Nigeria, the leader of Rwanda-backed M23 rebels in eastern Congo said on Thursday that a call by Kinshasa and Kigali for an immediate ceasefire doesn't concern the group as his forces push deeper into Congolese territory by capturing the strategic town of Walikale. Walikale is the farthest west the rebels have reached in a swift advance since January that has already overrun eastern Congo's two largest cities. Town of 15,000 people fell after fighting on Wednesday between the rebels and the army and allied militias. The conflict rooted in the fallout from Rwanda's 1994 genocide and competition for mineral riches is Eastern Congo's worst since 1998 to 2003 war that drew in multiple neighboring countries and resulted in millions of deaths, with troops from Congo, Rwanda, and Burundi having all participated in the fight. This year, a conflict that has simmered for years is evolving into a wider regional war. Experts say Walikale is an area rich in minerals including and lies along a road that links 4 eastern Congo provinces. And now in sports, Zimbabwe Sport Minister Christy Coventry has been elected president of the International Olympic Committee, IOC, making history as the first woman, the first African, and the youngest person to hold the prestigious position. The 41-year-old former Olympic swimmer, a 2-time gold medalist, replaces Thomas Bach, who served since 2013, despite World Athletic President Lord Koi being the front-runner. Coventry secured an absolute majority in the first round of voting, already a member of the IOC Executive Board. Coventry becoming the 10th person to hold the role and will serve for at least 8 years, elected as an IOC member 2013 via Athlete Commission and later as an individual member in 2021, the election until 2053. With a possible extension until 2057 under the Olympic Charter. The election took place during the 144th IOC session at the luxurious Costa Navarino Resort in Greece, near Olympia, the birthplace of the ancient games. And with that, we come to the end of the news on Trust TV. Do not forget to follow us across all our social media handles and follow us on Twitter and also YouTube at Trust TV Live. I am Idris Baturi, thanking you for being with us. Good evening.